So that is potentially what I'm going to paint. This is Dimpledale. Yeah, this place is like designed and maintained to be, like the human dog park. It's like the human kind of zoo. Gorgeous view of the mountains, gorgeous view of the hills in between, and just trailheads galore. It's this great gully, and I was gonna do something out here, looking out there, but there's one damn branch right in the way. But I want the mountains. We have the great mountain, because like, why be here if it's not for like amazing atmospheric perspective with these amazing mountains, right? So that would be perfect. That would just be perfect. But with that one branch, it's just going to ruin everything. Just ruins everything. Which is funny, because usually you want branches. But this one branch is like perfect. It's what did Salieri say? That's God mocking me? Yeah. Well played, sir. Well played. But that's the thing. And we'll get to Plein Air here in a second. Awesome. So, tools. Make sure my tool. Spray bottle. Keep things moist. Underpainting, okay? I usually just call them like Azos or nickel Azos. Then I have a Van Dyke Brown, but these are the two I use for the underpainting and the sketch, right? So I have a separate tube of white. This is, I don't know, it's just a random series. I like the mid-series whites a lot of times because they're very buttery. They're very easy to use, Another trimmed down palette knife. I use this a ton. Okay, and make sure you get this. Brushes. It's my brush setup for Plein Air. Got a really gnarly brush I can use for various types of texture. Got a real clean, crisp square. Got a rigger, and then a round. And hardly ever use the round. It's mostly just these two with the rigger at the end, and I actually use the palette knife as much as any of them. So that's my brush setup. For the tiny days, I built travel palettes that I would use inside with something like this, and it was in a book, and it would fold over, and you could unfold it. You'd have a little reservoir here and a bottle nested in it, so you could just take the bottle out, put some in the reservoir. This was right there. You could open all these up, and then your palette was on the facing side, and then you could just literally paint in a coffee shop with the full palette. I thought I'd try to adapt something like that for Plein Air, and it's okay because I can take all of the colors I need in one thing, but I can't paint from this thing in the field. It doesn't, you can, but it's just kind of like not ideal. So I've actually stopped doing that as much. This will dry out if left out too long, but it's been several weeks and it still hasn't dried out. So that shows you a bit of the range. 2 months, I think you're pushing it. 2-3 weeks. It appears to be still, and I have it in this airtight container with very wet paper towels and everything in there, and it didn't dry out there. So hopefully you got most of that. So the last thing I really want to show you. So you've got the backpack here. I'm gonna, it's not just quote unquote tactical. It's you know, like $120 tactical bag. I mean, it's no joke, right? But it doesn't matter. Here, I have it wrapped with this bungee, so if I need to take it off and strap it to anything, I can do that. But actually, I didn't undo that. The main issue here is I can weave this, because the way it's weaved around, it goes off one side and then it's tethered at the bottom, so it's centered, right? So this goes up the center line, and usually I just keep it locked here up the center line, but when I'm out, I can just put it under here and clip it to the tripod. You see, and it's elastic and it moves, and basically what I did is just tethered my tripod so it won't blow away. Okay? And it's not putting enough weight or pressure to damage anything. It's very flexible. You can get a lot of movement with it, right? But just with the way it is and the way you can clip it right in the center, for these tripods, the center of gravity means everything, right? So anything you clip to here grounds everything pretty much evenly, which it took a little bit. I used to bring a weight and would just clip a weight to it, but it's like, why? I have a bag and the weight doesn't need to be that heavy. I can't carry extra weight bike packing anyway. Yeah, so this whole thing fits in the backpack. Even the surfaces go in the backpack. So this is my usual book. There's some good stuff, some crappy stuff. It's just kind of all over the place. Plein air. I'll go over it some other time. So this is watercolor paper that I treat with gel, gloss gel, because I want to paint on something slick, not something absorbent. But you know what I'm going to do for this? For the case of cinematics, I'm going to bring that all together as tight as possible. Does that even fucking work? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. All right. All right. Okay, never mind. I can let it cool off. One thing I always forget, but I love it when I remember, is just a cloth, a thing I wear around my waist so I can just wipe my brush off on my pants. But instead of pants, it's the cloth you wear around your waist, so I don't have to worry about, doing everything with like manually. And I think okay, quinacridone, Nicolazo, Van Dyke, both liquid. Okay. Wet the brush. Just do a sketch. Question is, more house or more trees? think more house. There's some interesting lines there. Okay, are we still in? Are we still in? Okay. Oh, good. Right in my fucking face, the reflection. Okay. Okay. Oh, too much water. Blew up again. So you can kind of see how I'm using this. This isn't like detailed at all, but look what's happening. I can push things in front, I can illuminate things, I can put this in front of that, and it's a great suggestion of what's going on here. If I want to like play up certain areas, you know, this is kind of dry, so I can create a little bit of I can push, push it a little more, I guess. I always forget it. I always screw that up. Like the first, the initial thing I put water in, because when I first started with this technique, I used just the bare, like watercolor paper. So I would make this very wet. And so I always screw up in the very beginning, like by making it like as wet as I did with the water, and it never works. Like the drier this part is, the better, right? But you can see that I put everything in space. I've put depth to everything. I basically know where everything is by now. And now if I want to go back over, I can literally go over the whole thing, and a lot of the detail is still going to be there, right? So I can kind of make the whole thing luminous now and still keep all the sketching lines. There's no detail here I necessarily want to keep, but I can still see perfectly all the, all the details. Like I'm only going back in here really to show you guys, but just the whole thing's right there. So I guess there's a chimney there, like the whole like roof is here already. There's this stuff underneath here. There's cast shadow on the ground. There's anyway, the whole thing's here. And if I want to, I could play up this a little bit, but I shouldn't, because that's going to be. I usually from here go to the farthest thing back. I should see I push that and that. Now it's kind of messed with the value a little bit. It doesn't matter a ton at this point, but still. And like that's that, So there's your sketch, and I can tell everything's going to work right from that. At least compositionally, right? Now, let's get this crap off here. It's acrylic, everything dry, especially in the sun and the weather, everything dries really quickly. So it's essentially already dry. Next major phase here. It's changing so fast. All right, so I'll lay down the palette. Start with ultramarine here. And everything I'm doing, because I just radically simplified everything for plein air, especially for the bike kit. Everything is based on the complement between burnt sienna and ultramarine. Have a person here. So that's my main complement. So everything I'm building from this is going to sort of stem from this. So rather than have like some arc, right, everything's going to be built off this central thing. Okay. So I have some phthalo green that I won't use much for now. My top left, but I'll do two for now. Just yellow ochre, of course. I actually started to include these grays, and it's just this crazy shorthand gray. And there's a dark one and a light one, and they all kind of get mixed up anyway, but it's great. I used to use back in the day this thing called Davies gray, for those who used Winsor Newton colors. I no longer use it because I can't find it usually. And then this, of course, is my yellow and red, which are in the same thing, which usually works, but doesn't today because this is a very messy palette. So we'll just call this the orange. Which we'll now use instead of a pure red. And I'll just get tube color for a yellow. Hansa Yellow Pale. I used to use Hansa Yellow Medium, which is of course more of an orange shade. But for some reason, all I could get was the pale. And I kind of like the idea of limiting to it. So it's a cool yellow. And so everything, so anyway, it's kind of an odd palette. Very traditional, except for instead of using cadmiums for the yellows and oranges, I use modern colors for those. Okay. Better wet this down. It's in direct sunlight. I don't know. I try to set up where I'm not in direct sunlight, but who knows. I usually start with a big pool of neutral color right between the ultramarine and brown. Sorry, burnt sienna. This time, I think I need to start with blue here. Shoot, I used a big chunk of the gray to make this, but I don't like that gray. It's too dark, actually. Use a tiny smidge of the phthalo. And actually, this should be way more purple. What am I thinking? So go back on that. And the question is, which yellow? Let's try the yellow ochre. Keep it in the traditional. But you see the yellow ochre is a little sour. I'm never crazy about the greens that yellow ochre creates. But for now, let's just lay in the color of these mountains here, shall we? So what's interesting about this palette is how many greens I can get from it. Right? I can derive so many greens from this palette. It's insane. Which is funny because there's no green color on the palette. I don't need it. I don't want it. It would just make this way too flexible, I guess. I don't know what you call it. So let's see if that Hansa, just a little bit of the Hansa yellow. Let's see what that does with our green here. I don't like the Hansa green. Boy, I was just complaining about the green from yellow ochre. I just fucked up this green too. What's nice about fixing your greens is that if you leave a little bit of the not fixed green down, then you kind of have just expanded your palette a little bit, or expanded the colors on your surface here. Yeah, see, I'm getting kind of the kind of a green I want here, but way too dark. I don't know. I don't know if I've mastered the greens on this palette. You can do so many, because you have two blues, a warm and a cool, two yellows, a warm and a cool, and I also, if I use the nickel azo, sometimes I bring a nickel azo yellow in, which is essentially a high chroma version of yellow ochre. But anyway, that kind of, it's just outrageous, the range of greens you can get from that. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Someone pulled up a minute or two ago and then just looked around and then left. I don't know what they were going to do here. Didn't really see what they looked like. Actually, they looked like a fed or something like that. Like just snooping in really quick to make sure, that it was all good, what was going on. Which is funny. I don't know if it's just like, with the Russian shit, if everything is on high alert or what, or if people around here are just snoopy. It's kind of like both, I guess. I know I said that I don't usually use the phthalo with the tube, but I forgot I had it in here already, so might as well use it. So you'll see, I just added a tiny touch of phthalo to this, and the difference is amazing. So it's use a green blue in here, and it just changes everything, because everything else is turning out to be a cool blue. Because I have a cool yellow and a cool blue, but then you use the cool yellow goes to the same place the warm blue goes to, right? Or at least I didn't say that right either. They neutralize each other, right? So this cool yellow and then the warm blue from the ultramarine, it mutes, right? So you always get these muted colors. So when you have the yellow that's cool and then the cool blue as well, they go to the same place, and you start to get a lot more pure green, right? So just little nicks and touches of a pure green like that just sings with this palette. And we'll just see how that goes here. I don't even know. It's I don't, should I use a little bit of that? Maybe a tad of that. There's a lot of trees up there, and I almost feel like they want me to give them voice as trees. No, that was wrong. Don't do that. All up here. Damn. I fucked that up. Good job, dude. You'll hear me just angrily admonishing myself quite often. Just ignore it. We have come to an understanding that we hate ourselves but must endure. And it's all good. Just chill. Okay. Okay, the reason why I didn't want that dark color there was there's actually a ridge here that's fairly luminous that I want to make sure to get. And like these luminous ridges on these mountains here with the green, when green comes into season, it's they're just unparalleled, right? So I'm going to put another one in here because there is one. And it hopefully looks fairly subtle up there. So hopefully it looks like verdant ridge that is pushed back through atmospheric perspective. And there's another one here. And earlier in the season, there's a lot more white from the mount. Like last time, just a couple of weeks ago, when I did all this for the Plein contest, there was a ton of snow still on the mountains, and it's almost all gone already. So just to make sure we see a little. This is not pure white by any stretch. Trying to pick up a little bit of color with whatever is hopefully still a tiny bit wet underneath. A lot of this over here is going to get covered up. So we'll go a little heavier with it, just to hopefully catch some of it by the end of the painting. This ridge should actually go much higher. So we'll just fudge it, paint it in. And it's actually very heavy trees, so we'll use some of the tree color. And we should probably put little indications of that here and there as well. Okay. A lot of this is going to be covered up by foliage, so I just want enough to show, to hopefully show through if there's any left there from the paint or from there. Okay. Sorry, sometimes it's hard to talk and paint at the same time, so I might just spout gibberish. Okay. That's not good. What am I doing? So I'm looking at this now objectively. Yeah, that's okay. We'll use it. We'll leave it. We'll leave it. So I've used my sort of scumbly brush here already, and I'm going in with I do most of the bulk painting with this one. Don't know why, maybe it's not the best. But again, a lot of this, I feel like I'm painting from the back foot a little bit, because the whole point was to have a small, very small light setup for bikepacking, and so it's like, okay, so you just make concessions, right? And then it's like, wait, but I came here in a car today. Do I really have to like make concessions? anymore. And it's like, I'm kind of now wanting to just build a full-on, just a full-on plein air setup where I can do larger stuff. And I love the idea of the bike packing setup, but I think I don't want that to be my full setup. Okay. Jeez, and this isn't even anything here. I don't have... Okay, so... foliage. It's a major issue. Because what's really going on is I just painted in a lot of background stuff. See, I don't like that color. That color might exist in like a couple of places, like maybe there. I'll do the Musgrave Evans thing. I'll just start dabbing in certain colors, just seemingly totally out of order, till it comes together beautifully at the end or something, right? So that is going to be there. Sort of slightly lighter gray back here. And I'll leave that for a moment, but I will, leaving the brush totally dirty. So we have a mid-ground there. Maybe want a little more of the red in it. Just this battle to keep the acrylics from drying out in the sun. So I should do a bunch of stuff now. Oh God, I don't like that at all. Ugh. Ugh. What are you doing? So there's this nice dark patch there. Nice dark patch about there. is a much closer, greener patch here with things, and I should probably cut it off there. Yeah, I'll cut it off right about that. Yeah, we'll leave that. Okay. And then over here, we'll introduce some more green into it. Get the dark patches there. A lot of it. Shit. Fuck, that'll go. Okay. Then there's that. No, damn. No, I shouldn't take that off. It's a good color, I just moved. Alright, I'm just going to do a quick thing, a little out of step, just to make sure I don't lose it. Okay. And we should probably punch. It's the same kind of color over here, but probably slightly more magenta. Okay. And that starts about here. There's that blob, so it goes here. Mostly here. Okay. 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 And what I should have done at the very beginning. Oh, shit. What are you doing? Shouldn't do this at all. But we're going to, because I need some form here. Big over there moving. Okay. Right now there's virtually no gradient in the sky. So just using a luminous blue phthalo, a little bit of gray, dirtied a little bit with whatever was on the brush and whatever was kind of around it. You know, There's a few things in it, but for the most part, I'm looking for a value and a very pure, luminous color. And I'm looking to have it be chunky enough to kind of sell this line here, because I don't want it to look too sharp or too dull or blunted. Or too even. Okay. And that, I think, will do it. Bam. Okay. Now, later I can come in and do any fine adjustments I want on it. And that puts everything else in perspective. I actually meant to do that way sooner. But now I basically have to put in foundational color again over it. And it would have been better if I just would have defined this area better and left a lot of that. Let's see. Let's see if I can experiment here, huh? Doubt it, but we'll see. Yeah, see, now it's just taking everything off because it's on a slick background. That's okay. Dropped my brush in the schmutz there. It's okay. It happens. Okay, so now that we have a bunch of color already out, we kind of get what's going on. Instead of trying to, let's see what I want to say. So instead of trying to use some of the background color again and all that, I'm just going to kind of remix it and use it in here. What really, I'm going to need some more color here. This is not going to work long. I have a big blob here. It is there's a lot of burnt sienna. And there's a big fat burnt sienna branch that comes through there. There are blues and siennas all through this place. I should probably have some green ready to go because there's huge green. So I'm kind of not being too particular. I'm making this big blob here with just a bunch of colors, just nondescript. I really want the form. And the form, well, the form is the most important thing, but if I'm going to do a big blob of form, I might as well just throw in a bunch of color too, right? A bunch of proper color. I think we're just gonna go because my big pools of color are all drying out. This whole damn thing's in the sun. I'm gonna lay in some like intermediate pools here, or just kind of blobs. A lot of them will come down there. I wasn't going to put this in, but now I think I am. Yeah. All right. There we go. Some shit down quick here. Get some down shit quick here. Quick here. Shit down. Okay. Okay. So what I did here was I wanted to get the temperatures of everything, right? So there's a lot of detail in here. A lot of that's decent for it. A lot of that's like decent color, decent shape. If I don't want to, you'll kind of see where I go with a lot of this stuff too, because a lot of it's like the whole point is that it's not that detailed till the very end. And so the way I'm going to float a bunch of details on top of these. And over here, I'm really dismayed because these aren't very interesting shapes. Like, I don't like this. This is very standard. I see this kind of stuff in plein air all the time. I don't like it. I like shapes floating on that background a lot better. I think I could have treated this better. But that's kind of how it ends up being as foliage comes into the foreground, right? And you'll see over here that it happens too, because there's all this foliage that comes here that's really, really in the foreground, right? Like if I was going to be, and I'm just going to do it now. I don't care anymore because overthinking it's just not doing it for me here. And a lot of it is I'm just blabbing, and I'm not used to really talking while I do this, so I'm kind of only half paying attention. But like it should be this, like this should be here. And there's a giant thing there with another giant thing coming here, which should have been there at the beginning. And then it's like kind of comes out that way, And I should have used this for it. And I'm trying to be thick and robust with the paint, but not. I don't want to be drawing thinly on top of things, right? Just have no interest in what thin paint looks like in this, right? And what I don't want is thin stuff drawn on top of like thick paint. I just don't want that at all. And everything's just getting so flat here. I'm just, I don't really know. I don't really know what to think here. I kind of want to let some of this stuff really just dry out so I can put new pools of color. And did I bring my... Oh, I gotta get this out of there. Okay. No. I was hoping I brought some kind of medium or something, but I don't think I did. Oh, shit. Oh, there it is. Okay. See, there's a picnic table right here that I don't think I'm going to put in. Yeah, we'll just not do that. What I really want to do is, it's part of the technique I use to make acrylics look like oil. And I want medium on top of this with slight tints on it, and then to go back in, because then I can just like sweeten everything up in here again. I should probably find a way to do that out here, because in these kind of conditions it would dry quickly enough to where it might actually be a viable technique in plain air to do stuff like that. So I don't know, dude. Oh shit, I'm just fucking that up, right? Okay. And then here should be big flat patch of it that comes out. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Might as well mix some green with this fledgling color here. All right, so that is the pure green of the phthalo and the Hansa. And what shall we possibly do with that? What do we possibly do with it? I don't know. Let's see. I kind of want to use the palette knife again, but I'm not. I'm going to hold back for a minute. So you should have seen what I did there. Hansa, phthalo, big pool of green, horrible green, or just, I don't know if horrible is the right way to put it. Kind of looked like a pure, or more pure sort of hunter green, but then I just started taking all the other colors and bringing it into one or another. So I should have some greens that make a little more sense, at least for the big blobs of these first layers. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm going to try to add form to the foliage everywhere, okay? I don't know how much I'll be able to add with this mid ground here, but we'll see. But there are definitely some big forms of green in here, which I'm putting in a sort of mid-tone. So I should have a lot of the greens already laid down, or the darker tones from these. I'm gonna throw a little fucking ultramarine here. Little, yes, I'm liking that more. Okay, good, 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 good. Okay, so one thing I've noticed too, using the green on this palette, it's good to kind of isolate that. Like I just use that green for that tree. I want to use that green for any other trees now. Like I burn that green so far. This mid green, a lot of the stuff here, there's actually a lot of form to it. And so I kind of, it's actually luminous. It's actually picking up a lot of color, like reflected light. So a lot of the green coming off this foliage through here, like there's this whole chunk right here that's all reflected, right? So hopefully that comes through. This part actually comes way in front of that. That's why that was never detailed. And then I'll put some of the root color there, which was kind of through the top and through here. Some more of that reflected stuff. Intermittently through here. I said I wasn't going to repeat colors, but I'll see if I can't vary it a tiny bit. Or the stuff over here. Oh shit, that's not what I was hoping for. But really pure stuff here. red on it. I didn't mean to. Nope, I'm going to take a photo and I'll finish it later.